The SABC has partnered with McDonald's South Africa, who have brought the FIFA World Cup closer to home with a nationwide campaign designed to unite fans through great food, exclusive collectibles, family experiences and unforgettable moments of national pride. Let's cross to Thabo Xaba for more. Thabo, a very good morning and thanks indeed for joining us. Some viewers on my social media are asking, whose side are you on tonight?
Listen, Sims, good morning, first of all, to every single person, of course, watching us here. We are, of course, right here in Greenpoint, the McDonald's here in Greenpoint, of course, and it's all things that has to do with the World Cup final taking place tonight, and also just a lot of, the conversation surrounding the World Cup, because it's something that is quite important. I'm not going to say what side I'm on yet. This will be revealed at the end of the show. I will tell you all about that. But listen, we're joined right now by, of course, someone who is really good at what he does. He's an amazing coach. He's someone who's great when it comes to goalkeepers, because he was a great one as well. And also, he traveled with the Ghana team as well. It goes by the name of Mr. Roger Desawa. Good morning and welcome to Morning Live.
Great to be here. It's a nice early morning, but fantastic day, isn't it? Fantastic final coming up.
No, indeed, I can tell. You came here this morning. You were like, you know what, I'm not even feeling the chills of you feeling cold. I was feeling very cold this morning. You were like, you know what, I'm ready for the moment, especially the World Cup. But I wanted to talk about all things the World Cup itself, right? You traveled with Ghana, and you've seen what the African teams have done in this particular World Cup. It was quite a huge one in terms of what CAF is representing in terms of the African teams, and I could see that there was some joy from a lot of people. So how do you feel about the African teams in particular when it came to this World Cup?
Yeah, I think it was a good showing by the African teams. There's no doubts about it. I think the world has got smaller. There's no such thing as a weaker national team nowadays. I think everybody puts up a good fight. The players are playing all over the world, so you don't get this, we've lost a little bit of identity around the world. I mean, no country plays like the country plays. I mean, it used to be like the English play like the English and the Italian play like the Italian and so on. Now, the game has become sort of universal. It's a worldwide game. And you can see that with the African countries as well. A lot of the African players now apply their trade all over the world. So when they come back to play for their national team, a lot of the influences come back. And I think that's why you're getting a much leveler ground now. There's no such thing as a weak African team, and the results are showing. There's no big results. I think last night's result is probably a bigger shock than anything else. The 6-4 sounded like a bit of a tennis set. But, it's good to see that. And to be very competitive. And I think in the next World Cup or two, I think you're going to see an African team putting up a serious challenge.
Coach, you know what, looking at this particular World Cup in particular, right, let's look at how the good and the bad of this World Cup. And I'm not necessarily talking about the political side of things. I'm just saying, in particular, looking at the tournament as a whole. Has it been a good or a bad tournament, or has there been a mixture of how this tournament has gone for every single nation in particular?
Look, it was my third World Cup, so I can make pretty good comparisons. I think Qatar was unique because it was a very small country, and it's all the stadiums were in the vicinity of about 20-minute drive. So it was very different. You, as a spectator, you could watch 3 games in one day. So it was a very different World Cup. This one, obviously, the vast challenge was the distances between stadiums, between cities, the different time zones, the different climates. And I think that was the biggest challenge. But having looked at those difficulties and having been there, I think they did pretty well. I think if I have to put sort of one downside of it, being there with the Ghana national team and playing those games, I think the travelling was our biggest challenge. We lost a day every time we travelled, and I think when you're playing in tournament football, a day is vital for recovery, for training and so on. And that was the only downside really. The rest, the organisation was fantastic, the stadiums were great, training facilities, hotels, transport. I mean, you couldn't fault anything. I mean, you can't fault anything about that. So as good as it could be. A fantastic vibe. I think the Americans did very well. I think the population supported the tournament. And obviously the influx of foreigners was fantastic to see. Where I was in a city where the Scottish took over, and of course within 2 days there was no more beer. So the vibe was unbelievable. People singing, the mixing between the nations, celebrating. It's a different crowd. I think national team crowd are people that save money over 4 years to go and watch the national team play. They're not so much as what you call the soccer hooligans that are flying around and causing fights. I think it's a different vibe altogether, and it's still a great tournament.
I mean, Coach, looking at also officiating, like just to add on that, right, there's been some controversies, you would say, quote-unquote, controversies in this particular World Cup. We can look at the VAR calls with Argentina. People saying that Argentina is getting away with the calls. You can also look at the fact that England got away with one against Norway. People are saying that happened as well. Croatia, Portugal, that extra time, that VAR call that was called towards the end when Croatia actually scored a goal. So much has happened when it comes to the officiating. So how have you looked at this World Cup from an officiating standpoint, especially with the referees?
Yeah, I think, the VAR has become a little bit of a controversial issue. Everybody talks about it right now. I think initially when VAR came in, it was good for the game. I think it settled a lot of arguments, and a lot of the players and coaches, supporters, once VAR took over, you kind of accepted the decision, just like cricket and rugby has done. But I think what's happening now, there's a little bit of a grey area in the VAR decisions. There's no clarity of when do you go to VAR and don't you go to VAR. And I think that's what's causing a lot of problems, And I think the biggest thing that we can talk about this tournament was that the bigger countries as such, the decisions went their way, And I think that's one stat that you can't hide, you can't run away from. We were victims of some VAR decisions against England ourselves. So I remember that very clear. It was a clear penalty, and I think even with the bare eye, you'd given a penalty, and it went to VAR. And how do 7 officials not see a penalty there? That's something that we are left, with like, how do the rules work? And I think it's still up to the referee, and we got to be careful that VAR doesn't take the human side of it away. Because right now, I ask the question, what does a linesman do? He runs around up and down the line, and when he gets the buzzer on his arm that it's offsides, he puts his flag up. I kind of wonder what else is he doing. He gets told by the VAR that it's offsides, and that's it. And that's sad. Now you got 3 officials in the middle of the field, 2 on the side, another 3 in a box somewhere watching television, and sometimes we still get it wrong. Well, most times we're getting it wrong, and it's crucial decisions. And I think we wanted it to come in and do away with that. So I think it will improve. I think they'll get it right eventually, and we just got to bear with it. And it'll be a World Cup marred by a couple of those calls, but I think we'll get over it.
Coach, I guess we'll see when it comes to that and all things when it comes to the World Cup. We will see, obviously, tonight it is Spain taking on Argentina when it comes to that. But also we have asked you that question on the socials. We've asked you at Morning Live SABC to let us know right now, who do you think will take it between Argentina and Spain? In particular, who is going to win that particular game? We've received a couple of tweets. I've got one here, this one by Ingizwe, who says, sure, the whole world is against them. That's when legends rise. Messi will silence them again. Viva Argentina is what they're saying. Khabuni says, good morning, family. It feels like the whole world is against Lionel Messi and Argentina today, but Leo has saved his best for last in this final and will lead his nation to victory once again. Best of luck to the team. And I've got another one here by Bongani Mkupela, says, morning. At the sports desk, I have to go with the Spaniards. They play free-flowing football. They've been rocking solid at the back throughout the tournament. They're worthy of being a crowned world champions for the second time. And you know what? Maybe they are worthy of being crowned champions for the second time. This one is Bonisen, says, good morning, Tabo. I will go through with Argentina tonight. And you know, that seems to be the sports question of the day, to see who's going to be taking this particular final. It's a big one. Do you want Lamine Yamal to take this one at the age of 19, or Lionel Messi back-to-back, the first captain? He could potentially be the first captain ever to go back-to-back and win a World Cup. But listen, we'll be back straight off the break. You're watching Morning Live.